So people talk about drug addiction, porn addiction, alcohol addiction. One of the things that we don't hear very much about is food addiction. Coming up next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Drinking some of that wonderful HEADBANGERS brew this morning, and in particular, some Joe Mama coffee. It's our newest blend in our newest mug, Agape, Love at Full Volume. It's a mug, it's a poster, it's a t-shirt, and it's right here. We are metallayerfamily.com. Here's our question for today. It's a good one, and I'll do my best, okay? Hi, Pastor Bob. I have had a food addiction for many years. It started with some early trauma. I went from alcohol and drugs to food for comfort. Although I gave up the alcohol and drugs and 20 plus years of smoking, good for you. I've not had the same success with food. I've been listening to a popular evangelist who has a message on how to kick sin with keeping your eyes daily on the cross. He calls it the message of the cross. Could you tell me what you think? Please be frank. Well, I would love to tell you what I think, and I understand food addiction. I like food too. But I also understand that certain foods are addictive. And you know, when we look at dopamine and we look at the chemicals in our body that produce addiction, it's interesting to see that some of those can be in food as well. So I think I've had some food addictions in the past. There have been some foods that I can't quit eating, and I realize, okay, I'm not going to eat that anymore. And it might be almost anything, but some are addictive, and they're designed to be addictive. And our food these days, especially fast food, is designed to be addictive. So if I give you a spiritual way to combat food that's designed to be addictive, we have a little conflict here, don't we? And the first thing you have to do is look at your diet and see what you're eating. You know, those foods that produce that addictive feeling are generally carbs. That's the way it works. You might want to cut down on the carbs and definitely cut out sugar. Really bad for you. And those things that produce sugar in your body, excess sugar. Now we need some. We need fat. We need protein. But you might look at some of the more popular diets these days, the ones that are working for a lot of people, and say, maybe this is how I should eat. Keto, others that are like that. Intermittent fasting is really good when you're trying to kick a habit. But any of those things would be the first place to look. And then I think we have to talk about those things that master us, those things that begin to take over so that we don't have control. And I think once we look at the chemical makeup of something like food and we're eating correctly and we say, okay, I still have this problem, then you have to replace the comfort. And keeping your eyes on the cross is great, but you know, there are a lot of very popular evangelists who have this wonderful thing to say, and yet in secret they struggle too. All of us do with something. Keeping your eyes on the cross, or your eyes on the prize, as I say, you know, is an important thing. But our life is a daily battle, and ordering our life in the way that that is pleasing to the Lord and pleasing to us is really important. So there's a great scripture, and it's found here in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 12. And it says, everything is permissible for me, but not all things are beneficial. It's okay if I eat that candy bar, if I drink that soda, etc., but it may not be good for me. Everything is permissible for me, but I will not be enslaved by anything and brought under its power, allowing it to control me. Yeah. And a lot of things will enslave us. We think of this all the time when we think of drugs, and we think of alcohol addiction, because they really enslave people. But we don't consider it with food, and you're right, it will enslave you, and it does. But even because it's permissible doesn't mean it's beneficial, that it's good for you. And you have to decide, I will not be enslaved by anything, and you begin to do what you can. And the first thing is to take away that dopamine effect. Now, it doesn't ever really go away when you've been addicted to something, but it becomes manageable through time. And we could spend 10 hours on this, and I know we don't have 10 hours to talk, but the first thing I would do is look at diet, because food is designed to trigger you, to entice you to eat more than you should, to eat more of the kinds of food that you shouldn't. Yeah, all of that. So look at a healthy diet. Look at a keto diet, something like that, that is very well balanced, low in those carbs that will trigger you. And I think that may really help. And as always, folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.